Only 3,495 pounds. This is a one-owner, very nicely kept 193 BHS Apex that actually was sold to its original owner right here from Haylet RV of Coldwater, Michigan. Long story short, after changing jobs and work schedules changing, the previous owner simply found themselves not really able to camp a whole lot. And rather than have this thing sit in the backyard collecting dust, they thought, why not offload it for now, and we'll swap around and get a different camper when we're ready again. I think this little thing would be absolutely ideal for first-time campers for just a number of reasons. It's been, you know, well kept. You're not paying the brand new RV price tag, but you're basically getting a new RV. And because the previous owner is basically just done camping, you are getting the benefit of a bunch of accessories put on by the previous owner, such as the full weight distribution and anti-sway hitching, as well as a rear backup camera that has been installed. So it's not just camera prepped, it's actually got the camera. On top of that, it's small, so it's not as intimidating to tow, and it's a great way to get a family started out there. And frankly, even if you're, you know, not even family camping, if it's just a couple of you, you could use those bunks as some great storage. This would be a very good starter camper. We will dive more into the construction of the camper as we go outside, but for now, I just want to take a quick look inside here. You can see that this is basically virtually new. I mean, this looks extremely well kept. It is clean. It smells clean. It doesn't smell like sweaty people. Sometimes that is kind of the case on used RVs. I'm not picking that up here. Previous owners did add a TV. There was not one standard in this camper. They kept the screen, but what is nice is they left the wall mount so you can easily see where to put that, and you don't have to try to guess where there's a stud or anything. Actually, the previous owner of this was a person who was involved in the construction of RVs. They were actually a line laborer. And then again, after changing jobs, they just didn't have the time to camp that they previously enjoyed. There is a large overhead storage cabinet up there. There's storage below the bed. We kind of peeked at that when we looked at the pass-through where that hitch was located. We'll look at that again outside. But if I take a knee here real quick, you see how deep that overhead cabinet is. There's a lot of storage going on up there. All the lights are LED, all the windows open for airflow. Speaking of which, previous owners added the cloth sliding shades to these windows, so that if you really want to just blot out the sun and black it out in here, you really can. The other thing is, those things are going to keep a lot of extra heat from accumulating in the RV because you're keeping solar radiation from accumulating in the RV. Neat little thing right here. This has a nice little elevated headboard with a recessed pocket. There are power outlets right on the side, so if you do need to run a phone charger or a CPAP machine, this is actually very CPAP friendly with that headboard shelf. But here's another cool factor about this. This is a Camp Queen, but you know, oop, come on, camera focus with me there. If you are a longer person like me, you're taller, what you could do very easily with almost no signature of this ever being done, you could simply remove that headboard from the camper, and then you could put a full 60 by 80 queen bed in here. It would fit very easily if you did that. So it is true queen capable with a minor modification. Over here we do have a Dinette Slide. Now another good note here is when this slide out is closed, it does not prevent access to the bathroom, the bunks, or the refrigerator. So this RV remains 100% functional with the slide closed. The slide just adds all of this nice extra open floor space so you can walk around in here without doing the travel trailer shuffle and tripping on one another. And the light-dark exchange is really playing havoc with the camera right now. Apologies. It's just kind of one of those things that happens in the early mornings sometimes when I'm recording. The dinette, it can fold down into a sleeper. There is storage below it. Now, neat little thing you might notice, like in the kitchen, there are sealed edge counters. You'll find that repeated in the bathroom and over here on the dining as well. So if you do happen to spill a drink or dribble something, it's not going to cause damage to that top right there. What's funny, I even remember the name of this decor. This is called Cayenne Shadow, which never made sense, but that's what it was called, and for whatever reason I remember. But take a look at the seating. I mean, again, the RV was used, but man, was it really not abused. You can't see, you know, imprints of people's butts where they were sitting in the same spot all the time. The upholstery is not all scarred up and gnarred up, which is a RV nerd technical term you can look up in my definitionary. This thing's sharp, guys. Windows give you some lots of light and cross breeze, always welcome. This does have a 2.5-inch mini vaulted ceiling, and that's a nice thing to help this little camper look and feel not quite so little. And you might notice how it does have a full-size 13,500 BTU roof air conditioner. Now, Apex models have had some of the most sterling service records of anything here at Haylet RV, especially with this being owned by a factory laborer who would be able to address anything, God forbid there was a need. This thing's in great shape. You can actually reach back behind the cabinet styles. You can feel the pocket screws. When you're in smaller, lighter, less expensive campers, a lot of times you'll find scaled down construction, but that's not the case here. It doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles. It has the important ones. You got a slide button, an awning button, an outside light button. That's all you really need. Everything else is just done manually here. I also like the fact that this has a larger kitchen breeze window as well as a dual basin sink. A lot of times little campers have a single sink. Now, this is a great camper for off-grid use, and that's one of the reasons they have bigger holding tanks on a smaller camper. This has 30 gallons, fresh gray and black, 30-30-30. And that's part of the reason they use unequal-sized sinks. If you're in a campground that has water hookup, well, you can use the big sink and you can go bananas on your water usage. But if you're primitive, dry camping, boondocking, whatever your word is for it, you want to use the little sink over here so that you sip the tank, not gulp the tank. This was also one of the first years I really felt that Apex started to just truly dial it in with things like the bigger refrigerator over here. And now it seems like everybody and their brother's doing it, but these guys were 2 years ahead of the curve by putting a full 2-door, 6-cubic-foot fridge into a small camper like this. The microwave is down in what you'd call the oven location, and that's just a space efficiency methodology here. Most folks don't need an oven in a small camper like this. I know there are some, and if you're looking for a camper this size, but you want an oven, then give us a call, and we have those things. It's called a GeoPro. You can option an oven into those. The furnace is dead center, basically in the center of the camper. You don't need centralized heating in like floor ducted heating in a small camper like this. That little furnace is basically the same power as a bigger trailer, so it will just muscle through the camper if need be. And since that's not floor ducted, that means that our whole main deck here is carpetless and ventless for easy cleaning, which obviously the previous owners took advantage of by virtue of the fact that this thing is darn clean. The bunks, kind of like everything else, they don't really look like they were used a whole heck of a lot. Everything in here is in pretty sharp shape. They're not all broke down, squished down, busted down, anything like that. I also do like how each bunk has its own light. Now, the bathroom in here is one of, I don't know, I wouldn't say the reason, but because these Apexes have a lot of reasons they've been popular. But it's a very well executed bathroom. A lot of times in single axle campers, when you get to the bathroom, you have the tub shower combo and you have a toilet. Well, this has that, of course, and it's a nice foot flush and it's angle mounted so that you actually have leg room if you're bigger like me. But you notice that it actually has a sink in the bathroom, so you're not washing your bathroom hands in the kitchen sink. The other thing is, it actually has some pretty good extra storage in here. And this extra hanging space is the kind of stuff you don't often get in single axle campers. And you can see it actually goes all the way down to the floor. Just like the inside, the outside is clean as a whistle. It's been stored out of the weather, so the roof, the decals, the tires, the skin haven't been sun-baked and weather-checked. Just kind of circling back to where we started, you've got your full weight distribution and anti-sway combination hitch included with this camper. That's close to $500 worth of stuff that, you're not going to have to spend. And again, we do have a large pass-through under that front bed. Now, you can lift the bed to get to that. You just don't have to. You'll notice that this has 4-corner stabilizer jacks, kind of like that bigger refrigerator. Apex was always just kind of ahead of the curve on that. Single-axle campers historically lacked front stabilizers, which I always thought was silly. Now, a really cool thing on these Apex models, they are narrow body. A normal camper is 8 foot wide. Normally, a narrow body camper is 7 foot wide. This splits the difference. It's a 7.5 wide, which is, I think, how they're able to pull off that better bathroom that most little campers just can't match. The slide sidewalls have a seal gripping skin to them so that those big wiper seals are always doing their job and they're never getting crimped. You can see how this is not a long, large, intimidating, bossy camper. Very good for smaller vehicles, like short wheelbase vehicles like SUV towing. You know, if you're a daily SUV driver, you got a tow package Jeep Grand Cherokee, for instance, this thing would be an awesome fit. And kind of like the hitching, you are going to find a whole bunch of accessories included in here because I guess you kind of call it a fire sale. Everything must go. Previous owners, they're just done camping for now. Now, a really cool thing, I said we come back to the construction. This RV, it has an all aluminum skeleton. We have laminated roof walls and floor to help keep the thing light but strong. Underneath the fiberglass skin of those sidewalls, though, we have a material called Asdel. If you've watched a lot of my new RVs, you know about that, but if you're new to this, Asdel is a material substitute. It swaps out Luan. It is about 50% lighter. I hear sometimes 40, I hear sometimes 60, so I split the difference. I say it's about half as much weight, but it can't rot, mold, mildew. It has a little better thermal resistance, meaning keeps your camper more comfortable inside. It also has a little bit of a sound deadening quality, so it's one of the reasons that they can go 7.5 wide here and still be the weight of a 7 wide camper. Pretty cool. And again, previous owner added the backup camera here so that you know, it has a little handheld monitor. You can even see what you're doing when you're going down the road. You can peek behind you. Pretty darn cool, actually. Awning is power, push button simplicity. There is LED lighting below it so that you can have a cool little campsite arrangement going on. And then a neat little detail. Because with the slide out, this one does need a little heavier chassis and suspension. It does sit up a little higher on the ground. So it's been outfitted with a set of double steps instead of a single, as is traditional in the single axle camper market. Really, guys, what I'm getting at here, very popular, very clean, very well executed. The folks just aren't using it right now. There's nothing wrong with it. They weren't unhappy with it. Their lifestyle just changed. That's the only reason it's here. So kind of your benefit, really. Still new enough, it could probably qualify for same as new finance. So give us a call, 800-256-5196, Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan. Take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.